Kirsty Arendt asks me on Quora, what idea did you totally come up with, but someone beat you to the patent? I'm Andrei Answers, the founder of Trademark Factory, and here's my answer to this question. This comes from my personal experience, not as a trademark agent, not as somebody who runs a trademarking company, but from my personal experience as someone who came up with that idea. So I moved to Canada from Russia after I had been an intellectual property lawyer in Russia for many years. So I moved to Canada, had to go back to law school, finish my law school, and I was doing 1 year of what's called articles here, when you slave away for a law firm, getting paid next to nothing in exchange for an opportunity to write the bar exam when you're done taking this apprenticeship almost. So I was there, and during that process, I was seeing some of the inefficiencies of how the system worked. So I came up with what I thought was an amazing way to sell books to lawyers in electronic format. Because there's, of course, books that you can go to the library, there's physical books, and you could go and make copies of the actual pages, and you had to stand at the photocopier with this stupid library card that would charge you by every page that you take a copy of, right? That was one way to do it. An alternative to that was to use some electronic subscriptions, some digital subscriptions, and they would sometimes give you access to books and things like that. The problem with those is that they would just give you text, right? Well, sometimes it's formatted text, but it's still text. So when you print it out, it almost looks like, you could just type this whole thing in Word. And from my perspective, it's always less convincing when you try to bring something to court and say, well, in this book, this authority said this. And when you try to provide evidence of that, it just looks like you typed it yourself. So it doesn't look as convincing. And so oftentimes we would use the electronic database to find a specific quote that we wanted to use. Then they would send me to the library to find the actual book, to go and take copies from the physical book so that the actual filing that we did with the court looked better, right? Again, they were paying me next to nothing to be that apprentice, so it didn't really cost them anything to send me to the library to spend a couple hours of my life to stand at the photocopier and find the actual pages and make copies of those. So as I was doing that, and I was thinking, there's gotta be a better way, right? Because of course they're digitizing the books to get them to the digital library already. So there has to be a state when somebody scans the book, and this has to be this PDF. So I'm like, what if you could, in that subscription, get access not to just the text, but to the PDF version that has pages with all the format preserved. And I thought that would be a great way to make those lawyer books available to lawyers. And I'm like, great, is there a way for me to make any money on this amazing idea? And I searched online, didn't see anything. And look, I'm not a patent lawyer, right? I've not filed a single patent in my life. I understand how patents work, but I don't have any experience with any practical aspects of patents. So I did my research, found nothing. I actually also did some search in the patent database that Google has, and because I don't know what to search for, I found nothing. And I was about to go out, take a loan to have my great idea turned into a patent. Because one thing I realized is that I don't own the books, I don't own content, okay? I don't have the capabilities of creating the software, digitizing those books. So there's really nothing I could sell to make any money on this idea other than by patenting the idea, almost the method of presenting information, presenting those books in the PDF format that preserves the layout of the page. And I'm like, this is such a great idea. Nobody's doing it. Lawyers around the world would be thrilled to use it, and I would become rich, right? So I was about to go out there and take a loan on getting that patent. I got a quote from a local firm that does patents that was quite substantial. It was well in 5 digits, 5 figures. And I was about to do all that when I had this, I had this moment when I realized, well, Andrei, what's the first thing you do when you help people with their trademarks? Well, you do a trademark search. What do you tell people who tell you they've done their own trademark searches? Well, you tell them that probably their search is not good enough and that you would have to do the search again just to make sure that they're right and there's nothing out there. So I said, okay, who's going to do the patent search for me? And I did some research and I found a company out there. It's a US company. And I looked at their model. Unfortunately, unlike Trademark Factory, we do a trademark search that's part of the entire filing process, so you pay nothing for the actual search. So they had, you had to pay about $500 for a patent search. And said there, I was at a point when really didn't have any extra cash lying around, which is why I needed to get that credit. But I thought, well, in the worst case scenario, I'm just gonna have to pay the extra $500 to confirm that the idea that I came up with is patentable, that nobody's doing anything like that, nobody's patented anything like that. So the worst case scenario, the whole patenting process is going to cost me $500 more. And in the best case scenario, it's going to save me some money. So I went to them. So website is quickpatents.com. It's the company we've been recommending to all of our clients who do patents ever since. So I went there, paid them whatever they charged, and I'm sitting there and waiting for them to get back to me with the confirmation that my amazing idea is patentable. A couple of days later, I hear back from them. I get a 90-page report, 90 pages that pretty much buried my idea right there. It showed me that I couldn't do anything with it because somebody had patented a technology that fully comprised my idea. There was nothing that I could do to overcome it. I could go and get a license from them maybe, but really what that would mean is I would have to go pay somebody to get a license from their technology so that I could go to all the law publishers and say, I got a license to sub-license over to you. It wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any business sense to me at that point. So I'm still bitter about it because I thought I came up with it. I thought that nobody's really using it. To me at that point, I look at that as an opportunity to get rich quick. and that didn't happen. So as an alternative, I came up with Trademark Factory, which became a much better way to utilize my knowledge about intellectual property, because that actually allows me to help thousands of entrepreneurs and brand owners protect their brand. But to go back to your point, yeah, it happens all the time, and I just happen to be perfect example of, if you don't do a proper search to see what's out there, you probably won't know what's out there. So just because you came up with it, just because it's not out there on the market, doesn't mean that somebody hadn't patented it before. So make sure you always check before you start doing anything with your idea, because had I started investing more money, maybe even starting to make some preliminary deals, the person who owned the patent would have totally found out about it and made my life hell. So as upsetting as it was to me back then to know that I can't patent it, I'm happy that I stopped right there with a $500 investment. I didn't spend any money on patent. I didn't spend any money on developing that idea, building that idea into something that couldn't have worked anyway. So I hope this answers your question. I hope you found it interesting. And if that's the first time you're seeing a video from me, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We post these videos every day. And if you got a question for me, post a comment below, and I'll shoot a video just like this one answering your question. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.